Nervous system regulation begins by listening to your body. You cannot think your way into feeling calm and grounded. You have to move into those states through the body. And that begins by actually listening, which is a tall order. We spend so much time in our day assessing, thinking about the future and the past that we often forget that there is a wealth of information happening below the level of the head. Our body is spending the whole day communicating with the brain. The nervous system is that bridge. It tells the brain what's happening in the body and if things are okay. So if our basic needs aren't being met, we have to go to the bathroom. We're hungry, we're thirsty, we're tired. There's a message being sent to the brain that we're not okay. And the brain is very dedicated to keeping you safe. So if it is registering a threat, oftentimes it will move you into dysregulation, fight, flight, freeze, these states where we feel extremely stressed out. And the truth is we can avoid a lot of that by simply listening to bodily cues and responding to them. It's not that we won't still feel stressed out by things, but the stress level is different, right? If I'm meeting my bodily needs, let's say I'm at a 2 for stress, and then a stressor comes in and it feels like a challenge that I can handle. Good stress is good, it builds resilience. But if I'm at a 5 and a stressor comes in, I might not be able to feel like I can handle it. So the stressor suddenly feels bigger because my bodily needs aren't being met in the first place. That doesn't mean if we're not in literal safety, any amount of meeting the bodily needs will send us into the stress response. But what I'm talking about is the amount of time you can spend in a day in that stress response needlessly, right? Because you could be listening more fully, moment to the needs of the body, responding. And so those stressors become resilience building. So I want to offer you a practice to help you check into the body, notice what's happening, and respond. And one of the benefits of doing a practice like this is not only to stay regulated, but it builds a kind of trust between your body and your mind. For lots of reasons, we've had many experiences in our lives where maybe we have felt a lack of safety in our body, or we feel some discomfort. Maybe there's an injury, maybe we've been hurt by someone else. And those experiences pull us out of the body, make us less trusting of our bodies. But paying attention moment to moment on our own terms is a way to rebuild that trust so that we can stay more regulated and in deeper conversation between the mind and the body. So you can do this practice anywhere. I might discourage you from doing it if you're in a car, but pretty much anywhere else. There's nowhere that we can't be paying attention to the body. So give yourself a moment just to take a couple of deep breaths, maybe with an exhale through the mouth. And start by noticing the basics, hunger and thirst. We oftentimes skip lunch. We don't have anything to drink. Hours later, we're thirsty and we realize we haven't had anything but our morning coffee. So just notice basic needs like hunger and thirst, have they been met today? I'm just going to make a mental note. And at the end of this practice, hopefully you'll have a little bit of time to meet some of those needs. And then I would have you notice on a scale of 1 to 5, what's your stress level and what's your energy level? So maybe you didn't get a good night's sleep. Maybe you've had a really big day and you could use a pause. This is just something simple you can work with. If your stress level is high, maybe it's a couple of minutes of breathing just to calm things down with a long, slow exhale. And then make your way into the sensations in your body. So just wander around your body for a little bit. We tend to be really good at noticing unpleasant sensations, not as good at noticing pleasant, and definitely not as good at noticing neutral. So see if you can just kind of take in the state of your physical body and notice what sensations are present. And there may be a space or 2 or 3 where there's some tension. Sometimes that's habitual tension. We hold, there's not a problem or an injury, but it's kind of the place that we hold tension or stress. And sometimes we have injury, we have discomfort. So just acknowledge where there's tension in the body. When there's discomfort, we tend to brace or tense around it. And that sends another one of those messages to the brain that we're not safe. So the more we can release and relax tension, the more ease and grounding we'll feel in the body. And the awareness of tension might be a really good cue that at some point today, maybe even right now as you're sitting here, you could stretch some of that out. You could bring your attention there. You could take a few deep breaths with a long exhale with an intention to release some of that bracing and maybe to bring in some movement to release some of that bracing. So you've moved through hunger and thirst and energy and sensations. Those are easy ways that you can notice something that's happening in your body and respond to it immediately. And what I would suggest is you give yourself a few times throughout the day just to pause. It can be top of the hour, it can be before you eat your 3 meals, if that's how often you eat, just a few regular times throughout the day where you check in with what's happening in the body. You learn to listen a little bit more deeply in that check in. You learn to respond. And when you both listen and respond, you build that trust between the mind and the body. I'm Rachel. Subscribe for more somatic healing practices and nervous system regulation tools. And if you'd like to join me for another nervous system regulation practice, you can click the link below.